It started like any other viral storm, a shaky camera, a raised voice, and a title designed to break the algorithm. I exposed Judge Judy. You won't believe what she hid. Within hours, it hit 1 million views. But what no one knew, not even the uploader himself, was that this video would end up exposing something far more personal than the judge. The clip opened with chaos. A young man, hoodie, camera strapped to his chest, confidence leaking from every word, stood in the middle of Judge Judy's courtroom, pointing his phone toward the bench. "You're not fooling anyone, Judge," he shouted, voice trembling between defiance and fear. "People deserve to know the truth." Gasps filled the room. Security moved in. The bailiff's eyes widened, unsure whether to laugh or act. And Judge Judy, calm as marble, raised her hand. Silence. Not anger. Silence. For a moment, everyone thought it was staged. Maybe a prank. Maybe a stunt. After all, that's what the internet had taught us, that everything could be content, every outrage a strategy. But there was something in Judy's eyes that didn't fit the script. No panic, no confusion, just that unmistakable look of someone who had seen it all and was waiting for the truth to reveal itself. The camera shook. The YouTuber's voice cracked as he kept filming. "You've been protecting the powerful," he accused, "pretending to be for the people." His words echoed across the courtroom, bouncing between the wooden walls and shocked faces. Somewhere in the audience, someone whispered, "He's going too far." The clip cut abruptly there, just as Judge Judy leaned forward. The video ended on a freeze frame of her gaze, cold, steady, unbroken. And that was all it took. Twitter exploded, Reddit threads filled with speculation. "Finally, someone stood up to her," one comment read. Others called it career suicide. Memes flooded every corner of the internet. Judge Judy's unflinching face captioned with, "Try me." But behind all that noise, behind the millions of views and the dopamine-fueled outrage, there was one thing missing: the truth. Because what viewers didn't know was that this wasn't just a random courtroom interruption. It was the climax of something much bigger. A months-long plan by one YouTuber determined to make headlines no matter the cost. His name was Ethan Cross, 26 years old, known online for truth bombs, sting videos, and dramatic takedowns of authority figures. His followers loved him for his boldness, his raw delivery, and his refusal to bow to the system. But this time, his target wasn't a politician or a company. It was a 70-something judge with sharper instincts than most investigators and a lifetime of courtroom experience. So when Ethan hit upload, he thought he'd done it, that he had exposed the nation's most famous judge as part of a broken, biased system. But the real twist? He had just documented his own downfall in full HD. Within hours, traditional media caught the story. Influencer confronts Judge Judy live. Talk shows dissected it. Clips of the confrontation played on morning news. Some defended his courage, others mocked his arrogance. But none of them realized the version of the video they'd all seen, the one that went viral, was edited, cut to frame Judy as dismissive, cold, manipulative. The original footage told a different story, and Judge Judy knew it. Behind her calm demeanor that day, she had recognized the pattern, the setup, the provocation, the camera hidden in plain sight. She had seen hundreds of liars, manipulators, and attention seekers across her decades on the bench. But Ethan wasn't a criminal. Not yet. He was something more dangerous. A young man who mistook attention for truth and views for justice. Friends, if you had watched that viral video in its first hour, you might have believed every word. You might have shared it too, convinced you were witnessing bravery. But what if I told you that the real story, the one that cameras didn't show, would reveal who was truly manipulating whom? Because in the end, the only person Judge Judy exposed that day was the one who came to expose her. Before the world called him a fraud, Ethan Cross was the internet's newest obsession. His channel, Crosscheck, had exploded in just 2 years, fueled by dramatic exposés, half-whispered secrets, and titles that promised truth no one else dared to tell. He called himself a digital watchdog, a defender of transparency in a world full of lies. His followers called him brave. His critics called him reckless. Both were right. Ethan's rise had been meteoric. He'd started in his bedroom, filming shaky videos about unfair parking tickets and hidden fees. His charm wasn't in expertise, it was in defiance. He spoke fast, hit hard, and made viewers feel like they were part of a rebellion. Every clip had that same tone. They think we won't notice, but we see everything. And when millions began to agree, Ethan stopped being just a YouTuber. He became a movement. At least that's what he told himself. But the problem with constant outrage is simple. It gets boring. The audience always wants a bigger villain, a louder confrontation, a deeper scandal. Ethan had already exposed a crooked landlord, a fake charity, even a politician's unpaid fines. Each victory came with a dopamine rush, likes, shares, sponsors, fame. Yet none of it satisfied him. He wanted something iconic, something untouchable. That's when he said her name, Judge Judith Shineland. To Ethan, she was the perfect target, powerful, famous, and feared. For more than 22 years, Judge Judy had reigned over television's most unpredictable courtroom. Her sharp wit, no-nonsense style, and ability to slice through lies made her a legend far beyond daytime TV. She didn't just handle cases, she handled people, their excuses, their manipulations, their arrogance. Millions watched not for the verdicts, but for the truth in her tone. But to Ethan, that same bluntness looked like control. "She's scripted," he claimed in one of his live streams, pacing in front of his neon setup. "You think it's real justice? It's entertainment. It's selective editing. They show what makes her look smart and everyone else looks stupid. It's not truth, it's theater." The chat exploded with comments. "Call her out! Do it, Ethan! Expose the system!" He smiled into the camera. Maybe I will. It was a dangerous fantasy, taking down a cultural icon, but it fit the rhythm of his life. He saw the courtroom not as a sacred space, but as a stage, and if he could make the judge stumble, even for a second, he'd prove what his audience already wanted to believe, that authority was fake, and he, the rebel, was the only honest one left. Meanwhile, across the country, Judge Judy kept doing what she'd always done, showing up on time, reading every file, and giving her verdicts with the same clipped precision she'd honed since her days in New York family court. Off camera, she was quieter, more deliberate. She never needed to shout to command respect. She carried decades of experience that spoke louder than any viral moment. Her success wasn't built on spectacle. It was built on consistency, integrity, and an unshakable belief that truth, once found, didn't need decoration. That's what made the contrast so powerful. A digital performer chasing reactions versus a lifetime jurist who didn't care about applause. A young man addicted to perception versus a woman who had spent her career defending reality. When Ethan announced his investigation into Judge Judy, producers laughed. "You're poking a lion," one warned him. But Ethan's ego had already rewritten the story. He wasn't attacking her. He was exposing her. He told his followers, if she's as honest as she claims, she won't mind a few questions on camera. The comments roared in approval. He began studying her episodes obsessively, clipping moments where she raised her voice, skipped over explanations, or dismissed testimony. Then he spliced them together to create a false pattern. A judge who mocked defendants, ignored facts, and favored certain types of people. Bias compilation, he called it. We'll drop it right before the confrontation video, build tension, get the audience primed. His editor, Mia, frowned. "You're cutting context. That's not fair." Ethan's tone sharpened. "Context kills clicks, Mia. People don't want nuance, they want drama." That line would later haunt him. With step 1 complete, he moved to step 2, control the narrative. He began teasing the big reveal to his followers. Live streams, Instagram stories, TikToks, each one dripping with mystery. "We've uncovered something huge," he whispered dramatically into the camera. "It involves a courtroom, a camera, and the biggest lie on daytime television." The comment section erupted. The hype machine was alive. Then came the confrontation itself. Through a producer contact, Ethan's team managed to secure audience passes to one of Judy's live arbitration sessions in Los Angeles. Cameras weren't allowed, but Ethan wasn't going to play by the rules. He bought a pair of glasses with a hidden lens and wired a small microphone under his shirt. Ryan disguised a GoPro inside a briefcase. Every angle, every reaction would be captured. The night before the taping, they rehearsed. Ethan stood in front of a mirror, mimicking indignation. "You claim to stand for truth, Judge, but what about the truth behind you? I'm not scared of authority. I'm scared of silence." He smiled at himself. It sounded heroic, viral-worthy. Ryan, uneasy, asked, "And what if she actually answers you?" Ethan shrugged. "Then we edit it. No one watches reality. They watch what we tell them to see." Those words would soon mark the point of no return. When the day came,
"I'm sorry, what did you say?" Ethan pressed on. "You present yourself as fair, but people deserve to know what's really going on behind these cameras." Ryan's hidden camera caught every angle: Judy's still face, the stunned audience, the bailiff leaning forward. For the briefest moment, the courtroom was silent. Then Judy spoke, calmly, precisely. "Mr. Cross, is it? You seem very interested in truth. Tell me, did you come here today seeking justice or just attention?" That line hit harder than Ethan expected. He tried to smirk, to keep control. "Maybe both," he said. "But I'm not afraid to expose what others won't." "Expose," Judy repeated, leaning back. "That's a heavy word for someone who just filed a case about a laptop." Nervous laughter flickered around the courtroom. Ethan's pulse spiked. He hadn't planned for humor. He needed outrage, tension, something to make her snap. But Judy didn't. She stayed composed, studying him with the quiet patience of someone who had seen this play before. The bailiff stepped closer, sensing disruption, but Judy lifted a hand. "No, let him finish." That small permission destroyed Ethan's rhythm. He faltered, stammering through accusations about scripted justice and fake empathy. The more he spoke, the less sure he sounded. Cameras captured his anger, but they also captured something he didn't expect: doubt. When the hearing ended, Judy didn't dismiss him. She simply said, "Mr. Cross, stay after court. I'd like a word." The tension in that moment was electric. Ryan stopped recording. Mia, watching from the gallery, looked pale. Something in Judy's tone felt different. Not defensive, not humiliated, controlled, calculated. As the audience filed out, Ethan sat frozen, hands trembling. He had come to expose the judge, but somehow it felt like she had been the one studying him. He didn't know it yet, but the trap he thought he built was already closing around him. The courtroom had emptied, but the silence that followed felt heavier than the crowd itself. Ethan sat in the defendant's chair, fingers tapping nervously on the table. His camera glasses were still recording, though he had forgotten. Across the room, Judge Judy was speaking quietly with her bailiff. Then she turned, slow, steady, surgical, and called him forward. "Mr. Cross, is it? You seem very interested in truth. Tell me, did you come here today seeking justice or just attention?" The words hit like a gavel strike. Ethan froze. "That's not true," he stammered, his throat dry. But Judy had already received something from her clerk, a printed file, still warm from the machine. "This," she said, "is your case submission. Plaintiff, Ethan Cross. Defendant, Ryan Maddox." She looked up, her eyes sharp but not angry. "Your cameraman, I presume." Ethan's jaw tightened. Ryan's name on the record, he hadn't expected that to surface so fast. "You claimed a broken laptop purchase," Judy continued, "but the invoice you attached, it's from your own channel's merch site. That's not an accident, Mr. Cross. That's fabrication. In my court, we call that perjury." The words echoed. Ethan shifted, trying to regain control. "Look, I just wanted to make a point. The system." "The system," Judy leaned forward. "The system is right here looking at you, wondering if you understand what you've just done." Her tone didn't rise. It didn't need to. Every syllable carried decades of authority. Behind her, the bailiff crossed his arms, watching. Judy's clerk whispered something, and she nodded. Then she turned back toward Ethan, eyes narrowing with subtle curiosity. "Mr. Cross, do you realize we record everything that happens in this courtroom?" Ethan blinked. "What do you mean?" "The cameras," she said simply, "our own, not yours." And that's when his stomach dropped. Judge Judy lifted a remote, pressed a button, and one of the monitors flickered to life. The court feed, uncut, unfiltered, appeared on screen. Ethan's own face filled the frame, captured from multiple angles. Every smirk, every glance towards Ryan's hidden camera, every moment of feigned outrage. "This is the official court recording," she explained. "We reviewed it after you left the stand. It doesn't match your version, does it?" Ethan's chest tightened. "Wait, how did you?" "You weren't subtle," she replied. "You had a camera in your glasses and another in that briefcase. We noticed. You're not the first person to bring a prop into my courtroom." Her words sliced through the air, calm as a scalpel. The longer she spoke, the smaller Ethan felt. He tried to recover, to salvage dignity. "People have a right to see how the justice system really works." "And they will," Judy said. "But they'll see it truthfully, not edited to fit your script." She pressed another button. The screen split, half showing the uncut court feed, half showing Ethan's uploaded video. Side by side, the contrast was devastating. In his version, Judy looked cruel. In the real footage, she looked composed, even compassionate. "Tell me," she said softly, "when you edited this, did you think no one would notice?" Ethan stared at the floor. His throat burned. "I just wanted people to see you weren't perfect." Judy's reply was immediate. "I've never claimed to be perfect, but I am honest. That's the difference between us, Mr. Cross. Honesty doesn't need an audience." The silence after that line could break glass. The bailiff stepped forward, asking if she wanted the equipment confiscated. She shook her head. "No, let him keep it. He'll need it to record his apology." Ethan's head snapped up. "Apology?" "Yes," she said. "You deceived this court, misrepresented a legal claim, and published manipulated content. That's not just unethical, it's illegal. I could hold you in contempt, but I'm not going to." The words stunned everyone, including Ethan. "Why not?" he asked weakly. "Because I think you've already sentenced yourself," she replied. "You've traded your credibility for clicks. You've built a following on outrage, not truth. And now you've shown your audience exactly who you are." Her tone wasn't angry anymore. It was almost sad, the way a teacher sounds when disappointment replaces punishment. "You wanted to expose me?" Judy continued. "But you exposed the culture that made you, the one that values attention over accuracy. You didn't just lie to me, you lied to your followers. And I suspect that hurts more than any fine I could impose." Ethan felt his breath shake. The weight of her words sank deeper than the threat of charges. She wasn't destroying him, she was defining him. Judy turned to her clerk. "We'll be releasing the full, unedited footage through the court's media channel. The public can decide what they think." Then to Ethan, "That's transparency, Mr. Cross, not manipulation." Ethan tried to speak, to apologize, to defend himself, but the words wouldn't come. His entire body trembled. Cameras that once made him feel powerful now felt like mirrors, reflecting every lie he'd told. As he turned to leave, Judy called out one final time. "Mr. Cross." He stopped. "You have talent," she said quietly, "but talent without integrity is just noise. Choose what kind of voice you want to have before it's gone completely." For a second long, Ethan stood there frozen. Then he nodded, not in defiance this time, but in surrender. Outside, reporters waited for a scandal. They expected fury, outrage, maybe even handcuffs. Instead, Ethan walked past them wordlessly, his camera still on, recording a silence more powerful than any of his videos. That night, the court released the official footage. Within hours, the internet flipped. Hashtags that once read "exposed Judy" turned into "exposed Ethan." Reaction videos poured in, influencers dissected every moment. Even his own fans admitted the truth. And somewhere, in the quiet of her chambers, Judge Judy simply closed the case file and moved on. Another day, another lesson in the difference between spectacle and substance. Because justice doesn't need to shout. It just waits until the truth speaks for itself. By dawn, the internet was on fire. The full, uncut courtroom video, 37 minutes of raw footage, had been uploaded by the court's official media team overnight. No filters, no edits, just truth. At first,